Hello again. This video is a continuation of section 1.3, and we're going to start with an exercise this time where you're going to try first. This is a review. This exercise is a review from section B.1, so you should be able to do it. So it says you can also solve many equations the usual way, because they don't realize that this is in the appendices. We did the appendices first, by doing the same operation to both sides until you have a variable itself. So let's practice that here. So go ahead and try exercise 4 and come back when you have finished. Pause it. Okay, here's the solutions. Part A is 5, and I did write the steps here first. We add 3 and then divide by 2. Part B, don't forget to do distributive property first. It was simplify first, subtract 6, and then divide by 2, so the answer is 1. Part C. Part C, again, don't forget to do the distributive property first. This one's a little bit trickier. If you got the correct answer, it's 4/9. Y equals, let me just rewrite it over here, 4/9. So I'm going to use distributive property first, so that would be a -5 we have to distribute, so that would be a -5 and then a +5 there. We're going to add like terms on the left, make it a 7. I always like to add first before I start undoing. Then you have many choices here. I decided to subtract 4y or add a -4y to both sides. But you could do anything you want at this point. So you subtract 4y, or add or subtract anything you want. Subtract 4y, you get a -9y. And then I decided to subtract 7, because at this point now I want the numbers on the right side. Divide both sides by -9, and you do end up with a fraction. 2 negatives is a positive, and you just leave it. It doesn't simplify 4/9. Now let's go to the next page. We're going to try some word problems. So see if you can do exercise 5. Exercise 5 says that a hotel charges its guest for using its Wi-Fi network. The cost in dollars is given by this formula, where T is the number of hours. So let me underline that. By the way, C was the cost. So T is the number of hours the guest uses the network. If a guest has a $40 charge on their Wi-Fi, for how many hours did the guest use the Wi-Fi network? So we're supposed to write and solve an equation to answer the question. We have the formula there. So see, we've done this before. See if you can figure out the number of hours. So pause this, come back when you're ready. Okay, did you get the answer? I got 5. How did I get 5? I'm going to realize that T is the number of hours and C is the cost in dollars. We already talked about that. And I'm going to figure out where to plug in that 40. So since 40 is dollars, that would be the cost. And we are looking for how many hours. So I'm going to put a question mark there. So I'm going to plug in a 40 for the C. And I do see I need to solve this equation. So then we can go ahead and subtract and then divide by 6. So you get T, you can put T on the left or the right, but T equals 5. And that is in hours. So we know that the guest used the system or the network for 5 hours. Exercise 6. I'm going to go ahead and do this together since this is a little tougher. If you want to try it on your own, don't hesitate to pause. This one says a pair of jeans is on sale for 20% off. If the sale price is $64, how much did they cost before the sale? The reason this is a little tougher is they did not give us the formula. We have to come up with it on our own. What I like to do to get my own formula, the steps I like to use, is first I like to figure out what my variables are. My variables are usually the unknown quantities. And it says here, how much did it cost, or how much did the pair of jeans cost before the sale? So that's what I'm going to let my variable be. I chose X, but you can choose any letter. You can choose C for cost. But I chose X, and X is the cost of the jeans before the sale. By the way, that's in dollars. Okay, now I want to get a formula. And I realize here that they say a pair of jeans is on sale for 20% off. So what does that mean? That means 20% is 0.20. Remember, we moved the decimal 2 places to the left, or you could just say 0.2. 20% of the pair of jeans. So the cost of the original pair of jeans is X, so it would be 0.20 times X. If the pair of jeans cost $100, it'd be 20% times 100, but it costs X. And that's the discount. What makes this problem a little tougher is if they would have said the discount was, but they didn't. They gave us the sell price. They gave us the sell price. So what is the sell price? Well, to find the sell price, I usually take the original price minus the discount. So what is the sell price? They tell us it's $64. You can make that another unknown, S for instance, but since it's given it to us, I'm just going to write 64 there. And then the original price we know was X, right? That's the original price minus the discount. So if I make that a little neater, X minus 0.20X. Right here, this is called a mathematical sentence. And it's a method that I will use whenever I deal with a word problem that doesn't have the formula already. So what I try to do is come up with a equation in words and symbols, a combination, right? It's not really a real sentence. It's not just mathematical equation. So I call it a mathematical sentence, sometimes referred to in algebra courses. Okay, so now we can just solve the equation. Don't forget there's a 1 here. There's an imaginary 1. So this would be 0.80x, 1 minus 0.2. You could do that on your calculator. And if you divide both sides by 0.80, what do you get? You can use your calculator. I got $80. Or you can write it in a sentence. The jeans cost $80 before the sale. That's what it means. Okay, so let's move on to exercise 7. Go ahead and try exercise 7 on your own. And come back when you think you have an answer. Okay, are you ready? What's the answer? The answer is 100. Let's go through this. The gallons of gas, G, so we know this is the number of gallons of gas, in a car's tank, D miles after stopping for gas, is given by this formula. So I wrote the formula down. How many miles? So we want to know, this one is a question mark, how many miles? That's the variable. Until there are 10. This is going to be a 10 gallons. So I put in the 10 for the G. So then I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. That's where I got the -5. And then don't forget this is really like saying -15 because there's a minus here and you can't add 15. So you really have to think of this as plus a -20, and that's why you get a negative there. And then multiply both sides by -20. And there's where I get 100. I just put the D on the left. D is the number of miles. So that is in miles. And that's it. That concludes section 1.3.